Hey guys, it's Gus from Pharmacy Down Under. Just having a quick little chat with you guys. I thought I might make just an unscripted video just to speak from the top of my head just about a problem that I've noticed has arisen with a lot of pharmacy students and interns over the last few months. Over the last few couple of weeks, especially on Instagram, I've been getting a lot of DMs from pharmacy students, pharmacy interns, people considering going into the pharmacy profession, sort of concerned about what there is to come in terms of job prospects, in terms of job opportunities, in terms of how to make the most out of the pharmacy internship itself, without feeling like they're wasting their time or living a dead-end job, etc. So I thought I might talk about this sort of epidemic that I've noticed has happened amongst pharmacy students post-uni. And I want to cover something called post-uni shock, which is a term I've sort of coined myself, talking about that lack of support, or rather the disparity of support for students that transition from university into internship into full-time work. Now, in terms of the concept of post-uni shock, I'll just tell you my experience just to see if it correlates with what you're experiencing. When I was in uni, I had so much support. I had chat groups with multiple students, with lecturers, with researchers that are in the faculty of pharmacy. Anytime I had a question, they were just a Facebook message away or an Instagram message away, or just an email away. And in uni itself, I had access to PhD students. I had the faculty staff as well, researcher, academics, all abundantly available. And even the actual pharmacy association or the society itself was very, very helpful as a resource for students to reach out and to ask for help and to do sort of group work together and get that feedback and that second pair of eyes, so to speak, to look over their work. And that was awesome. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And that sort of lasted throughout all 4 years of my learning. But then as soon as I transitioned over to the internship part of my career, that sort of support was sort of just vacant. So once you graduate, you lose access to all of that, more or less. And essentially you're thrown into the deep end, so to speak, of full-time work, where you're expected to work those full-time hours, meet those standards and the KPIs that you've set with your preceptor, and at the same time reach those goals as an intern in terms of your clinical development, in terms of your personal development, and in terms of your actual training towards the exams, both the APC written and the APRA oral exams. And on top of this as well, you have to satisfy the hours and satisfy the assignment requirements of your ITP. Now, that might not sound like much, but it really is a lot, considering that you are working full-time, more or less. So you don't have that segmented timetable like in university, where you'd have time on and you have time off and you have time to take breaks and allocated moments to focus on a particular subject. It's really self-driven learning, and it's a good skill to develop in the sense that you have that ability to develop discipline, develop a timetable, develop a sense of purpose and a sense of goal setting, in the sense that you can allocate time on your own. And it's your responsibility to be responsible for allocating the appropriate amount of time for those subjects and completing them within the allocated time and becoming better over time in an iterative process. Now, it's very, very stressful, and we all went through it. Now, the ITP itself, whether you go with Guild or if you go through PSA or the University of Sydney's one or any other ITP, they're all phenomenal, and they're really, really helpful in terms of providing that foundational knowledge in terms of how to approach exam content, how to approach those questions, and how to frame your wording. And the practice exams provided by them are really, really rich in terms of the variety of resources available. However, in terms of the actual support that you get on the day-to-day basis, it's just lacking, I'll be honest with you. The PSA support is awesome, Guild support's awesome, and the NAPSA one is great too. The only thing is, I feel like a lot of students have that post-uni shock in the sense that they lose access to the resources, to the instant gratification of getting access to someone that is knowledgeable, that is learned, that's been there, done that. And that's essentially the crux or the soul of why Pharmacy Down Under has started. So I'm trying to fill that gap, hopefully, and I'm not selling anything, just giving you my thoughts and opinions at the moment. The whole idea is that I want students to have the idea that they aren't alone, and interns, I want them to feel that they have a community to lie back on and to sort of lean on in terms of getting feedback, collaborating, learning, asking questions that they might be, too scared or too embarrassed to ask their preceptor, or maybe questions that their preceptor might not be knowledgeable in, or, in most cases, their preceptor is just too busy to answer. And I feel like in most cases, look, preceptors are great and they do their best, but unfortunately, it's just the way life is. Life gets busy. They have their own families, their own businesses to run. They will try their best, and most of them, 99% of them, are fantastic in terms of allocating time dedicated to the interns, in terms of sitting down, going through course material, going through exam material, and really going into the nitty-gritty of how to succeed. But I want to sort of lift the burden off these pharmacy preceptors that are struggling as is in terms of providing that high-level education in a busy pharmacy, especially community pharmacy environment. And by having the Pharmacy Down Under exclusive community, and if you're curious, click the link in the description. You don't have to sign up, but if you really are interested, then go for it. There's a 7-day free trial for everyone. So have a look. If you like it, jump on board, welcome. But if you're not a fan, no problems, no harm done. That's okay. Now, the whole idea is that the community, it's blossoming every week. There's courses being released on a weekly to bi-weekly basis, talking about all aspects of pharmacy, whether it be, the pharmaceutical, legal, ethical aspects, pharmacology, OTC topics. We're talking about cold and flu, or for example, cardiology. I'll be releasing a written exam cheat sheet in the next few days, hopefully, which is going to be a quick A4 double-sided cheat sheet with all the information and all the formulas and all the concepts and ideas that you need in order to succeed in the written exam, which is going to be really, really good. I'm going to be really looking forward to that. But the overall thing that I really wanted to get across through in this little quick video is post-uni shock is real. Post-uni shock is something that everyone will face at some stage, but post-uni shock is mitigated and it can be treated by having the right people and being surrounded by the right people and reaching out to the right people. So if you feel like you're the only intern in the pharmacy, you're a small pharmacy, preceptor is preoccupied with other things, you don't know who to reach out to, then look, just DM me anytime on Instagram, LinkedIn, reach out through our newsletter. All the links will be included in the description. And if you do want more exclusive and more intensive access to content and resources and other, like-minded intern trainees and other pharmacists in the profession, then join the community. Trust me, you won't regret it. It's actually one of the most amazing things I've created so far. It's thriving. We got over 50 members at the moment, which is great. And I think it's a really good space to collaborate and to ask questions and just to grow career-wise. Now, another thing, speaking of career-wise, that I really want to focus on as well is the need for you as an intern, when you start your internship, is to have a plan of attack. So if you go into your internship and you don't have an idea of what your plan is after the internship, then you're going to face a really harsh reality very, very abruptly. Now, what I mean by that is we have many interns that go through the motions, do the hours, do the job, clock on, clock off, do the hours, do the exam, pass, and that's fantastic and nothing wrong with that. But there comes a time, usually in the year following their registration, where they realize, what is my role in this pharmacy? What is my contribution? What value do I bring to this pharmacy business? How do I bring high quality healthcare solutions to the community? How do I bring new aspects of healthcare to the pharmacy industry? And what will separate me from the pharmacist colleague that I'm working with? So usually I always suggest finding a niche, finding some sort of specialization within the pharmacy community and doubling down and making it your sort of, your superhuman power, like your superhero power, more or less. So if you're passionate about metabolic health and diabetes, endeavor to become a diabetes educator. If you're all about vaccinations, immunizations, then double down on the vaccination clinics, make it your niche, make it your thing, be the expert at that. Whether it be medicinal cannabis or it's compounding or aged care, or if it's a GP pharmacist or military pharmacist, there's so many aspects out there, but it's up to you to discuss that with yourself and your preceptor or your pharmacy owner, and figure out what is the best path for you. Now, if you choose one of those aspects, like for example, I'll give you an example of myself. I'm working with three other pharmacist colleagues in the same pharmacy. And throughout my internship, my specialization was alternative healthcare and vaccinations. So that was my bread and butter. So it was my goal from the very beginning of my internship, and it actually ties in very well with your ITP, because most of your ITPs will be asking for some sort of public health initiative or some sort of healthcare initiative to be executed in pharmacy. You have to actually generate quite an extensive report on it. So I launched a massive campaign on flu shots and cold and flu immunity, and I set up pamphlets and flyers and bundles and made retail bundles with the front of shop team and got all the staff involved. So you don't have to make it a one-man army sort of thing. It's not just you involved. It's even better if you involve everyone in the community pharmacy, from the front of shop retail staff on the registers all the way back to your pharmacy managers, because that's going to show your ability to be a leader, to be a problem solver, to be someone that has initiative and drive in terms of getting something up and running from scratch, problem solving as you go, and iterating and getting better with each evolution of it. So that was my thing, and it still is carrying on throughout my full-time registered career as a regular registered pharmacist. So we still have initiatives for cold and flu, immunity, for prevention, for treatments, for travel vaccinations. We've moved and expanded into the national immunization program, rolling out shingles vaccines and Boostrix and all travel vaccines subsidized on the NIP. So it's sort of blossomed into that way. And in the same vein as well, we could, at the same time, reached out to communities in the area through MedAdvisor, through online advertising in Instagram, and sort of reaching out in every way possible, even just with basic word of mouth, just to spread the word to the community. So, because at the end of the day, healthcare awareness is our superpower. And that's all we can really do in terms of optimizing healthcare, is by letting people know, because they don't know otherwise. So that's my example. But in your aspect, in your community pharmacy, and depending on your interests and passions, it could be completely different. So if you choose to go down, for example, diabetes education, compounding, Webster packs, or any sort of DAA, or aged care facilities, or working with some sports club in the region to help with, for example, Webster packs. I know, for example, there's a great example with Batch Tested. The fantastic Karen Brown runs that organization. She works with sports clubs in the area, with like footy teams or cricket teams, and works with the team doctors and the healthcare professionals surrounding those athletes, and prepares Webster packs for them. So that's an awesome idea in terms of optimizing healthcare, finding a niche, and doubling down. So it's really good. I endeavor all interns, when you first start your internship, sit down with yourself, and if your preceptor isn't even engaged with you in terms of what kind of services you're going to provide, go through a plan of attack, go through a budget, go through how much is it going to cost, what kind of time frame am I looking at, 3 months, 6 months, and what kind of goals should I be trying to achieve in that 3-month plan, in that 6-month plan, in that 12-month plan, for example. What kind of revenue do I need to sort of generate in terms of allowing the service to be viable? Now, I know some of you might be feeling, oh, it's all, you're talking about business, this and that. Well, look, to be honest, it's not a business thing, but at the end of the day, it's a viability thing. At the end of the day, the pharmacy needs to run, it needs to operate, and it needs to be viable. So if you're providing a service that doesn't make sense in your community, doesn't have an audience, or doesn't have a community to support it, then there's no need to pursue it. So you got to take your time and research this really thoroughly before you execute it, and making sure that you have a plan. So you don't go in there willy-nilly. You go in there with a full-fledged plan that can evolve and will and should evolve over time in order to succeed at the best way possible. Now, if you're curious about how should I design a plan, or rather, how do I optimize my internship in order to have a great launch into my full-time career, then you're at the right place. You're in the Pharmacy Down Under community already, I hope. And if not, join the links down below in the newsletter, Instagram page, and even the school community if you need that hands-on help. And ideally, we're going to go through that sort of idea together: how to set up your LinkedIn page, how to be vocal online, how to make a mark digitally and in real life, and how to engage with customers and not fall into that trap of being a complacent person in the healthcare industry, going through the motions, going 9 to 5, and not really thinking much about it. That's the whole idea, and that's the whole crux behind Pharmacy Down Under. I really want to generate a new wave of pharmacists that aren't just there to wear a white coat and say they're a pharmacist. It's great and all, but that's not it. Pharmacy is one of the most amazing healthcare industries you to be in. It's bubbling at the surface in terms of ingenuity, in terms of innovation and iteration, and it's just going to explode very, very soon. So you're in it to win it at the moment. 8 CPA is right around the corner. NIP is just getting started. Expanded scope of practice is literally about the cusp of exploding. So hopefully in the next few years, you never know what's going to be of the pharmacy industry. We could be prescribing, we could be incorporated within GP clinics, we could be incorporated in the hospital emergency departments. You just never know. So I think the idea is to be in it to win it, be in there to learn, be iterative, and don't fall into complacency. Now, I've rambled on for ages, and so I appreciate if you hang around this long. So if you have hung around to the very end, please be sure to support the page. Let you know what you think in the comments. Don't be afraid. Don't worry. No one's going to roast you. I won't bite. But please comment down below what you think. Comment down below what topics you want to discuss next. And click the links and show us the support. We have free ebooks in terms of community pharmacy internship guides and in terms of how to access the best quality of life and the best career life ahead. So please, click the links. We have a Gumroad link down below. We have got the Pharmacy Down Under newsletter, which is a weekly free newsletter. And of course, we've got all of our socials you can jump into as well. So I think that's about it for today. Hope you have a great day, and hopefully I'll speak to you in the next one. All right. Take care.